Steve, I thought you were a little pessimistic, and I'm not sure I understand what you think is coming now with the Democratic Party, because you don't see a way out for a road to healing between, the super left and the regular liberal.
I don't think there is a road to healing, and I think the actions of this party in the last 4 to 5 days, Glenn, indicate that they realize that. And what they did here, going back to, it was a week ago, Jim Clyburn endorsed Joe Biden. And in the exit polling in South Carolina, almost half of the black voters Joe Biden received, so they were influenced by that endorsement. In the modern era, I have not seen a number like that. I've never seen anything like that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, because I said that earlier today. I've never seen, they used to call Bill Clinton the comeback kid. This was like weirdly fast, and for not a lot of good reasons, at least on the surface.
Glenn, he won 4, maybe 5 states last night, and most of them decisively. Joe Biden did. He never visited, he never campaigned, and he never advertised him. And that's unprecedented, because what you're seeing right now is something, and I'm going to use that word for a third time, unprecedented. We're seeing the old, prior to 1972, in the old conventions and smoke-filled rooms, prior to the modern primary system, you're seeing this now, how this stuff used to be decided before I was born and when you were a little kid. This is how this stuff used to be decided. But now it's being determined out in the open on social media. The national media is coordinating this message with the Democratic Party, and you're watching the entire Democrat Party apparatus go beyond putting its thumb on the scale. They are literally rigging an outcome, and I'm using that word on purpose. I mean, if you were in competition in a league with somebody, and you found out that league was working directly with that person to have them beat you, what would you call it? Certainly not gamesmanship. You're beyond that. And the only question is why they're doing it, Glenn. Either it's because they're so desperate to beat Trump that they'll risk and mortgage their future. That's typically how the Republican Party rolls. They'll mortgage their future to win this election, because when you look at Bernie's numbers amongst Hispanics, particularly the younger you go, that's the party's future. They risk angering them, or they realize that Bernie has to go. We're going to do this. If we win, we're going to do the same policies no matter who wins. But we cannot let Bernie Sanders go out there and message us as socialists and Soviets, as opposed to the way we've been lying to the American people for the last 30 years. It's one of those two.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I truly believe, Steve, that the progressive era, as we know it, as it was set up in the 20s and 30s, is over. At the beginning of the progressive era, there was this fight on, do we have a bloody revolution and just get it over with, or do we slowly make that move, that transition? Everybody decided America doesn't want a bloody revolution. Well, there comes a point to where the system is so hobbled by progressivism that it is not a true capitalist and constitutional republic, and it's not a Soviet state. It's nothing. And so you have to I think this is why so many people, including Donald Trump, want this debate with Bernie Sanders, and they want to just decide it, because that's really where we are. We're deciding between a constitutional republic, and a Soviet-style state. So which is it going to be? The Democrats are only dragging out the pain here. There's no future after Joe Biden. It is either a remake of the Democratic Party and a true one that repoints their compass back towards a republic, just a big state republic like Sweden actually is, or the communist revolutionary. And I don't see anybody pointing it towards a democratic republic. So what's the long-term game plan here?
I think the long-term game plan is that some of this is desperation. I think you've seen this with some of the corporate executives who are longtime Clintonistas that have been sounding off about Sanders and Elizabeth Warren before him. I think some of these chickens are coming home to roost for them. I think that they've used a lot of this class warfare, progressive, cultural Marxist language to, put down audiences like to your show and mine and to others, to get power over them, to win elections. But in the end, they just want to shake the system down every bit as much as the corporatist Republicans they claim to oppose. And now they're realizing that, oh no, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. These folks, we told them, hey, just we'll be your Pied Pipers, but make sure we're the ones playing the tune. And now all of a sudden, a new generation has emerged. They're like, thank you though, we'll take it from here. And I think a lot of that internal struggle is with those kinds of Democrats who don't have really any belief system other than, can I use government to get what I want in life? Period. End of sentence. We're just into gangster government. And I think now they're pitted against their own base. And they may get their way in this nomination fight, but in the long run, they're on the wrong side of history with where this party's trajectory is going.
So what happens next, Steve?
I think what happens next is that the Democratic, I go back to the first interview you and I did on this process when it started in Iowa, January of 2019. And I said to you that I thought a big dilemma the Democratic Party was going to have this year is, does it want to have the election of 2028 and 2032 or the election of 2020? And so that's really what's being debated right now, is the Biden forces that are propping him up, that he is a proxy vessel for, want to have the 2020 election. And Bernie Sanders' base wants to get on and culminate history, as you were just describing. That Bernie's going to win the argument. It's just a matter of his side will. It's just a matter of whether they win it in this primary or not. In fact, I would argue they've already won it by virtue of how far he's already gotten in their party. The real debate, I believe, is on the Republican side, because the Republican Party wants to offer up as an alternative to this some kind of quasi pro-corporatist, neo-capitalistic, kind of goulash of a little bit of everything. We're just not Marxists. And in the end, history is always won by the side that believes the most in the conviction of their own cause. So the Republican Party, I think, has got to figure out its brand. Does it want to be a constitutionalist party or does it want to be a corporatist one? Because in the end, you can't beat a T-bone with goulash, Glenn.